So, Karina, it's a pleasure having you with us today in Eoh-lution. You are a special guest, as you know. And we
My
ask you,
pleasure.
yeah, it is a long, long time we know each other, that we have been trying different things together. And just for everybody to know you, to understand who you are.
Okay, thank you so much, Tony, first for the invitation. As we grow old, indeed, there's a lot of things to say, but in short, I'm Carina Dantas. I'm the owner of an SME based in Portugal, trying to Europe, a bit more recent endeavor. So we are now getting our 7th anniversary, so 7 years now. This is a small company which is mainly around developing more inclusive communities. So it's all about inclusiveness, diversity. A lot of words that nowadays in some places are not really well seen anymore, but we are very proud of trying to still strive for that.
Mm.
Um, Besides this, I'm also co-director along with Willeke van Standenden from the Netherlands of the Shafe Foundation. This is also very connected to how we met back in in the days. So trying to work around the idea of smart, healthy, age-friendly environments and how to implement them in Europe. So all in all, even if my background is more around law, the most of my career was done around social inclusiveness and areas connected to this, for example, such as ethics and gender equality and a number of similar topics.
Yeah. And you have been a very relevant person putting together people around the aging, health, no, we have to change the name, and you are going to tell us now how that evolved as we grow in a healthier society, etc. So that was also a very big endeavor that you were managing since you were in Caritas Coimbra, and then
Yeah.
moving to the COST Action and many European projects, etc. So how it can that a woman in Portugal working in Caritas at that time came with these innovative ideas and pushed together many people to really have a collective mindset around topics that are very relevant to us as humanity, as society, etc. How it come?
Well, I'm not sure if I know. I can tell you two or three things that I think that perhaps helped me, along with, of course, a lot of luck and being several times in the right place at the right time with the right people. This is, of course, very important in anyone's career, I think. But perhaps two things I could highlight at this moment. One was that for several years, before working more on research and on policy and networking, I worked in many different fields at the social area. So working directly with people and in service provision. And I think this really gives everyone a different context. One thing is, of course, to think about how to put together research or how to find ways to influence policy on a very high level. But when you know the micro level, when you work directly with people, you tend to learn a little bit more about what doesn't work or what are the practicalities that hinder then the implementation of research results or of policy regulations, for example. So this kind of practicality, I think, is really important. And I'm very glad that I did the pathway a bit on the opposite side from the others.
The bottom
So
up, huh?
yeah, let's call it like that. I think that is indeed a relevant factor. And the second is that it seems that I have no shame of asking people to work voluntarily. So this is maybe the second aspect. I was very fortunate to know a lot of different people in Europe which have a little bit the same mindset. They really want to make a difference and they are willing to put their efforts on things, even if they don't have a quick financial feedback or a quick gain for themselves, but they are interested in trying to improve their communities, improve the society we live at. And usually I would say that a lot of my work is just trying to show them how we can do everything together, even without any resources or any quick gains. And maybe I'm a bit of an enthusiast, and I tend to find a lot of people which are also moved in the same way. So I would say that it was a lot of good luck, good people, and again, being able to be maybe at the right time with the right topics. And I guess this is how you grow a community, is when you have a lot of people brought together for common good, for the same kind of goals, and they are willing to invest some part of their lives on that.
Yeah. So you were saying some of the principles that are driving you, apart from the lack that okay, we have to all search or see how lucky we are in the situations, enthusiasm, but you have, I think, this personal trait that you are very happy person, or a
Yeah.
person that are very enthusiastic. You were mentioning that, and you bring this enthusiasm to others, and I think that brings something into the things that you put together that get people in a mood to collaborate, to be part of this community. And I have seen that many times in many projects where when we have been together or when we have been collaborating. So can you give us some example of one or two initiatives that you think have had a very good impact?
Well, for sure, I would maybe say one that was a bit more top-down, which was the EIP-NAHA, the European Innovation Partnership on Active and Healthy Aging. Well, there were a number of European innovation partnerships. I can only discuss about the EIP-NAHA, which is the one that I know. But this was an initiative by the European Commission to put together a lot of people to work for free, which as we
That was
stated
a
in the
great
beginning,
experiment, yes.
yeah, which is, as we mentioned in the beginning, is a good way of somehow bringing together the community. The only thing that they gave was some kind of recognition and the possibility for people to gather in events once a year or something like this. And the truth is that the partnership really brought together a lot of people that were, again, available to do things for free, and that were amazing and brilliant and coming from from different areas with multiple expertise. And this was so interesting. I mean, this was where we met, I think, many years ago, and a lot of other people. And the truth is that I'm really, really sorry that this is not done anymore. I think it was a big gap, let's say, in the commission effort since that time, because that really works well. We now have a lot of partnerships, but that connect only government or public authorities, while at the time these partnerships were quadruple helix or pentahelix or whatever, but they brought all of the different sectors of the society, and this is really needed. So that, I would say, would be a really interesting study case, let's say, on understanding how it works. And for sure, from there, a lot of different projects, initiatives, implementation cases occurred. So I think fairly I can say that for sure there was a high impact, even if I don't see a concrete assessment, or I don't know, but for sure there was a high impact.
And done an assessment on that one, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
It needed the commission, I think, and it.
Yeah.
But we can say that many things steer from that. When you build the community, when you have the connections, when you build trust, then the possibility of sharing ideas, sharing projects, starting new things, are there, because then you know the people. And that was the opportunity there.
That was for sure something that made sense. And the second initiative that I can highlight also actually comes on the aftermath of it, and it's SHAFE. This idea of trying to continuing somehow at least a part of the work of the IP, which was more focused on bringing built environments together with the green environment, with digital, with health and care, was taking advantage of a big group that was already around the IP. When the IP was ending, there was the will to somehow keep the community going. And all of this Shafi idea that came after this, the smart, healthy, age-friendly environments, was then a thematic network, and then after that, the COST Action, and now it's a legally established foundation, and it's still gathering a lot of the same people and a lot of new people, and still continuing the implementation on different ways. So for sure, again, it's one of those cases where this enthusiastic community is willing to do things, and it's very good if someone just gives the context for people to continue the networking and the sharing of good practices, I think, or of things that didn't work, or of things that can be leveraged.
The
So a
learning,
lot of
the learning of the many tries that has
yeah.
been done around this, because I remember also the governance on the demographic change that was also around this, and we tried, and so that we bring different type of stakeholders there as well. So there are many experimentation behind everything that is little by little growing, and lots of hours of the leaders of this movement. And for sure you are one, and you already mentioned Bileke, but if I ask you who are the drivers with you on this, and what are the traits of these people, because that's what we are very much triggered here at Eoh-for-Good, to find who can be this driver of change.
Well, we have a good list on our ambassadors list on Shape. So I think that during this period of the thematic network and then the COST Action, there were a number of people who were still engaged and continuously engaged in the initiatives and bringing new ideas and being able to, again, deliver some free activities to keep the community alive. And they are now, well, publicly in the website of the foundation, recognizes ambassadors. And it's maybe easier for me to say it like this because it's a number of people. It's not too many maybe for me to say it now, but also because they are somehow also organized around their areas. And some people are more connected to the built environment, while others are more to health or to community care or to public authorities or to digital transformation. And all of this is part of the needed community to make the change, because you cannot do it only with one sector. So this, of course, also changes in time. Sometimes people who are very active on a moment cannot be anymore because their spouse got ill or because they changed jobs and their new organization doesn't allow them anymore to have the same free space for doing things. And on the opposite side, also some new people come in because somehow they got the conditions now to be able to bring something back to community and take advantage of their time to bring something new. But mostly, I think these people in general, they are usually motivated and somehow, even if little available, to do something. And usually it starts from their own area, but then it expands and bridges with the other areas.
That's interdisciplinary or intersectorial approaches that's part of our model as well, with all this multi-eye approach. You were very diplomatic, not giving names, but just giving principles and the dynamics of coming in and out. So it's not a very fixed organization or setting, but it's more flexible, with people coming in and out depending on their capacity or their time frame in a period of time. So that gives a flavor of the principles and the drivers. What about the limitations for this?
Well, as always, with every work that is mostly voluntary or based on individual capacity and will, it's more difficult to keep it stable. It's more difficult for people to prioritize it. So you really need to find things that come as a motivator and be sure that you engage the people who are anyhow committed. Usually, the ones that are able to deliver something are the ones that are mostly occupied with their working life as well, because it's mostly like that. when you like to do a lot of things, you usually also have a very busy professional life. but at the end, you always find the time as well to bring something additional. And of course, you need to find things that are really relevant. I think that's the biggest point. At each time, in each period, you need to be reading very well the science and understanding what makes really an impact on people, what is really interesting, what is really relevant at the societal level, because that's the only way you can still mobilize people. You cannot be working around things that no one cares. You need to be sure that you are targeting the right context and priorities, and I guess this is quite demanding. So because we also have a very diverse Europe, a very diverse world, conditions are changing a lot in a lot of countries, also on the geopolitical level, also on the economical level, and of course this also impacts differently on an European based movement. It's not like everyone has the same conditions as you. So I would say that the limitations are to be very contextualized, to be very aware of what is going on in different places, and still be able to keep the most relevant priorities at each moment.
How do you do that, Karina? Because as you said, this is very rapidly changing, it's very diverse, and you are working or having an impact in many different places. How do you bring all these inputs and in something that has a coherent approach and relevance is relevant for different people? How do you do that? It's something innate. It's intuition. It's negotiation.
I think in a way it's a bit of both. I think that the biggest thing you need to do, I would say, in life, not only here, is to be able to listen. And of course, then you also need to have some ability to synthesize this and to make it rational and, again, interesting, inspiring. And this is a group effort always, because you need to have all of the people engaged in this dynamic movement, I guess. But I would say that being able to listen and being aware of what happens around you is really two very important things for everyone, and I think for everything in life.
And you think it's easier to involve policymakers or social innovators or business-driven innovators? Who are the key actors in the different helixes that are easier to include to the equation?
Usually the most available ones are always academics. And I think academics, researchers, I think this has to do because, of course, for them, there's a very clear professional link. Then you also have the social innovators, if it is in the right moment also of their of their process. Of their process. Policymakers, it depends. It's much easier to reach, I think, the local policymakers, so the ones that are acting at the local level, because if they are committed and also open, they will try to find the best things to implement in their own communities. So they are usually at least interested in understanding how to learn more. Business innovators or industry related actors are usually more difficult to grasp on the voluntary basis. But again, if they see that they can get also some positive gains out of this, then they commit. And if they commit, they are usually committed. So you also have this kind of maybe more dual approach. On the high policy level, you can engage policymakers for specific things, but not in a continuum. Also because there's a lot of change. A lot of small organizations, especially NGOs, associations, foundations, are very interested in understanding more. Sometimes they lack the resources, and this is really a problem, which would need some different way of tackling, because in a number of countries they are solving a lot of social problems and not fully recognized, especially financially, for that. But there's a lot of committed people coming from these type of organizations who really want to do something different, and they want to learn how to improve their action, and they are usually very present and very committed as well.
Yeah, and they are bringing their knowledge, and they are also gaining something from exposure to other people. So the win is there. So yeah, I think that was a picture of the quadruped helix coming together with all these different interests, different rhythms, different approaches to how much I'm going to give and what I'm going to gain from these endeavors. So I'm very triggered always when I'm with you, Carina, to know how you cultivate this entrepreneurial approach around you. There is always this capacity that some people have, and you are one of those, to create this entrepreneurial approach, which is inside the company now, that you can really see people motivated.
Yeah, well, I have again a lot of luck in finding very good people, guided a little bit by the same idea of really wanting to do something for societal good. And this is, I think, key. More than having very good professionals, we need to be surrounded by very good people. This, I think, it's the first point. And the second is that probably I also get surrounded by people who, like me, are very restless. I mean, a lot of my colleagues have the same problem as me. They want to do everything, and life is too short. And there's a lot of interesting things to do everywhere. And I think that as a group, either in Chafe or then in Shine or in different places, I always get this sometimes insane idea that we can do everything we want and that we just need to dedicate ourselves to do it and to try to give room to people to bring their ideas, to grow as professionals, to have their own space. I want people who can bring different things in different areas, and hopefully they will get amazing jobs in a while, and I'll be very happy for them if they move, because that's good. That's how things change in society, is if you pick up on people and you give them the tools to be better and better. And this has to do with how you intervene in the society, because you also need to feel empowered to do things around you. So if you don't grow as a person, then you also don't feel that drive, but also that ability to actually do things around you. So I think this is all very connected on how you manage your personal life as well. You need to feel good about yourself to feel you can. And then, of course, you can, either in your communities as at the professional level. So maybe I'm just very positive. You were saying this in the beginning, so I'm very positive about things and maybe also about people, and they feel they can do more, and they usually do more. I think maybe that's it.
But you give these grounds for people to be entrusted that they can do more, and then you give the space for doing so. I mean, it's not only a discourse; it's also the space and the capacity to do so. Huh?
Yeah, and that's very good also for any organization to have people who are motivated to do more. So I think it's a win-win for everyone if we are all happy and motivated and willing to do more.
Yeah, that's great. So as we have been discussing in the quadruped helix in the entrepreneurial approach, can you give us an example where you think this approach has had an impact on a community or an innovation ecosystem?
If I think quite locally and quite quick, we have, for example, a group of people who have been working around the area where I'm located, so around Coimbra, from ADELO, which is an association that works locally with communities, and the municipality of Pombal, and we have been doing a number of initiatives together. And in most cases, they were not that close to European projects, for example, or on bringing different types of innovation. All of us were trying and doing in different ways, but now we have settled kind of a very close relationship in bringing different aspects of the work we do to each other. And for example, in the case of ADELO, they are doing a wonderful job taking digital innovations for older people in remote areas and working around them with, for example, we now have one project on circular economy, and they are working around circular economy in the different communities, bringing different aspects that we could support because we are working together on doing so. It's like the impact is small, but it's permanent, which is a very nice thing, because one thing is, of course, when you have these initiatives or projects that have a specific time frame, but when their results and new things and new results again and again new ideas can be kind of iterative in organizations that work every day on the field, this is when impact actually shows, because you are having something stable but also always growing and moving, which is, I think, the basis for changing communities as well. So I can say that, for example, this relationship and collaboration we got with Adelo works really well. And it's a big win for the communities, especially in underserved areas like we have a lot in this region.
But that's what you are describing is the long-term approach for impacts. You know, that we are discussing a lot at the European level and how to measure that. And then we are not working for projects, we are working for communities. And then we have these feedback loops to have a long-term impact. So I think that's a good example. What do you think Agent for Change should do to really push forward motivation in people?
Listen to others and help them to grow and seek common good. I think that's the recipe.
Okay. And how would you cultivate an entrepreneurial mindset and a space around so that people thrive and projects thrive?
I think you need to be very honest on your intentions. Be very true on your intentions. So you really need to listen. You really need to want people to grow. You really need to want society to get better. If this is very true from your side and not calculistic, then it works.
Okay.
It's all about being honest with each other and really being with the right motivations, I think.
Authenticity, right?
Authenticity, yes, that's a good word.
Yeah. You bring people around something that makes sense for everyone.
I do hope that we all still have the conditions to continue this work that you do, that we do in different areas, and that we are living in very strange times where a lot of things are changing, and in several ways they seem to be retrocessing instead of advancing. So a last note of hope for the future, that we can continue working for common good. I think this stands for both of us and for a number of things we do. So maybe closing on that, hoping for brighter times, and that 2026 brings all of this a bit better.
Yeah. And the years after. Yeah, for us, that's a very good closing remark. And this hope for the common good work that we need to join forces. So thank you very much, Carina, for being with us. You are always a special invitee in Eoh-lution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tony. My pleasure, and well done on this initiative as a whole.
Yeah, that's our drop in the ocean to maximize the efforts that many people are doing, and you are one of these drivers. So
thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.